Welcome back. Now, after a long while, the school session finally starts today, and many parents and students are glowing with excitement and enthusiasm, mainly because physical school session, unlike online classes, allows students to interact with their friends and teachers and offers a more conducive environment for learning and development of students.
Anak saya teruja dengan persiapan baru masuk sekolah pada hari ini lah. Dan gembira sekali dia jumpa dengan kawan-kawan dia. Macam-macam yang dicerita untuk kawan rindu dengan kawan-kawan dia semua.
Responnya okey. Semangatlah nak turun sekolah itu sebab dah lama gila dah sit sekolah. Mujurlah dipermudahkan urusannya pagi itu masuk terus ngantarnya taksi dah titisan hujan. Harap anak-anak okeylah belajar dengan bagus, dilindungi Allah.
Meanwhile, Hafiz Suzairi and Nurul Rafida Yunus have made early preparations to ensure their children are ready for school.
Dari segi persiapan, anak-anak okey, tak ada masalah. Bekalan baju bersama buku memang cukup lah. Lepas tu reaksi anak-anak bila tahu sekolah dibuka pada hari ini, diorang menerima baik sebab lama sangat si sekolah kan.
Okey, persiapan baju memang ada senting, memang singkat, tapi lagi dapat pakai lah. Rasa pun macam hijau lagi dapat pakai, so saya ada pembelajaran dan dapat dipakai lagi lah. Face mask pun memang disedia banyak. Saya ada masalah bagi kami. Semua berjalan lancar.
A man in his 30s was arrested for allegedly punching a food delivery rider, causing the latter to suffer facial injuries. Acting Cebu Police Chief Superintendent Dr. Kalin Babat said the 9:30 a.m. incident happened when the victim picked up some orders from a coffee shop in Raminway on Friday morning.
The food delivery rider said he sounded his horn to get the car's owner's attention, who was obstructing his exit. A man believed to be the car owner then came out of the vehicles and punched him in the face. Collins said initial investigation found that the assault ensued out of anger alleged the victim for hitting his car. The victim immediately lodged a police report and is now receiving treatment at Cebu Hospital. Shortly after, around 2:45 p.m., a team of police arrested the 34-year-old suspect. Background checks found that the suspect had 3 past criminal records and was also tested for methamphetamine. The suspect will be remanded to facilitate investigations under Section 323 and Section 506 of the Penal Code.
Over 3,000 flood victims have received replacements of their personal documents through the National Registration Department NRD's Post-Flood Assistance Program. The program has been implemented since December 4th last year, and no surcharges were incurred to the flood victims to replace lost documents such as MyCard, birth certificates, death certificates, or any documents issued by the NRD. This initiative was welcomed warmly by the people, as not only will it ease their financial burden, but also smoothens the process of receiving assistance.
Okey, Alhamdulillah, saya datang sini tadi buat IC saya rosak lah. Kemudian buat salinan surat beranak dan juga CD kematian. Rosak kenapa? Rosak akibat banjir. Kita banjir di Taman Seri Nanding. Banjir dia lebih kurang 7 kaki, jadi kerja kita pun tak sangka lah. Barang dah rosak, IC dah rosak, CD beranak semua hanyut lah.
IC dengan surat beranak.
So, macam mana? Hilang ke?
Hilang sebab rumah betul-betul tenggelam sampai tingkat 2.
So, dah cari tak ada?
Sebab dia hanyut macam tu. Sebab semua CJ dalam satu file resume semua, lepas tu semua hilang dah.
Saya datang ke sini, ke Dewan ni untuk membuat surat beranak anak yang telah bercampur dengan lumpur ketika banjir.
Selain itu apa lagi yang buat?
Lagi surat itu kad pengenalan. Barang-barang yang banyak dengan bercampur, ada yang hilang barang-barang semua.
Okey, dengan kemudahan yang kerajaan sediakan di sini, so pakcik nampak macam mana?
Saya rasa berbanggalah dengan kemudahan yang diberikan oleh kerajaan sekarang.
over 10,000 houses will be repaired, while 283 houses will be rebuilt following the disastrous flood that struck several states in Peninsular Malaysia. Construction has begun last Saturday, undertaken by two ministries, namely the Ministry of Rural Development and Ministry of Housing and Local Government.
Jadi Kementerian Pembangunan Luar Bandar sudah ada data yang disediakan untuk baik pulih di tiap-tiap negeri yang disebut. Misalnya di setakat ini kita telah menerima lebih kurang 1,879 untuk baik pulih di kawasan banjir di seluruh negara, dan untuk Bina Baru 165 yang setakat ini yang kita terima.
Meanwhile, according to the Minister of Housing and Local Government, Datuk Seri Rizal Merican Naina Merican, each repair work would cost within the range of 5,000 ringgit to 15,000 ringgit, whilst each reconstruction of house would have a budget of 56,000 ringgit.
Tempoh yang kita sasarkan adalah di antara 4 ke 6 bulan, manakala untuk baik pulih sekitar 2 minggu.
Additionally, Rizal's ministry has identified over 8,000 damaged residences which will be repaired, while another 118 residences will need reconstruction. He also disclosed that a form of rental voucher will be handed out to flood victims who will need to rent a place while waiting for their houses to be repaired or reconstructed.
The Ministry of Health, MOH, is constantly monitoring the supply and expiry date of COVID-19 vaccines received by Vaccine Storage Centres, PSV, and Vaccination Centres, PPV, and thus no expired COVID-19 vaccines were supplied to the centres.
MOH Senior Director of Pharmaceutical Services Nurhaliza A. Alim said the monitoring was done by using the vaccine management system. In addition to the existing inventory system available at the facilities involved with the implementation of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program, PICK. Nurhaliza explained that the shelf life of pharmaceutical products, including COVID-19 vaccines, was determined based on the real-time stability tests conducted by the manufacturers for a specific storage temperature. She said a vaccine's shelf life would differ if there was a change in its storage temperature. A new vaccine expiry date would be given based on the shelf life extension application submitted by the manufacturer to the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency NPRA for evaluation. Nurhaliza said the NPRA had approved the shelf life extension for the Comirnaty Pfizer vaccine from 6 to 9 months, Coronavac Sinovac vaccine manufactured in China from 9 to 12 months, and Coronavac Sinovac vaccine manufactured by Pharmaniaga Life Science Malaysia from 6 to 12 months. She added that NPRA also approved the shelf life extension for the Convidencia vaccine from 6 to 12 months on December 17 last year. Nurhaliza said this in response to viral social media posts claiming that the COVID-19 vaccine given had passed its expiry date.
Ada spekulasi yang madah Puan ada hubungan dengan Datuk Tahir waktu Datuk Mahdi masih hidup. Dan ialah menyebabkan Datuk Tahir dan Amar renggang, sekaligus menyebabkan motif pembunuhan Amar.
Siapa budak lelaki ni? Dia memang rapat dengan Kemilah dari kecil.
Uncle si rasakah yang nyatok mastermind?
Obvious gila. Sebab ianya bukan mastermind. Sampai sekarang, belum ada tangkapan yang buat. Dia semakin mendekati.
We're back with global updates. A team of researchers in Cyprus have discovered a new strain of the coronavirus called the Delta Cron. The newly found strain is said to be a combination of both the Delta and Omicron variants.
The discovery was named Delta Cron due to the identification of Omicron-like genetic signatures within the Delta genomes. Citing a report from Bloomberg News, Lendios Kostrikis, a professor of biological sciences at the University of Cyprus, said the team has identified 25 cases involving Deltacron so far. It added that the relative frequency of the combined infection is higher among hospitalized patients due to COVID-19 than non-hospitalized patients. However, the research team added that it was still too early to tell if there are more cases involving the strain or its impact. Nonetheless, the team believe that the highly transmissible Omicron will likely overtake it. Other scientists, however, are doubtful and speculated that the team's findings could be a result of a laboratory contamination, which the team denied.
An Australian Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, said on Monday that clear advice was given to Tennis Australia over the handling of visas for Australian Open participants as tennis star Novak Djokovic awaits a hearing regarding his visa status. Djokovic was detained attempting to enter Australia by the border force when his medical exemption for entry into the country was called into question.
Responding to the accusation that the federal government gave conflicting advice, Morrison said that the government's guidelines could not have been more clear when they were announced in November of last year.
Well, the matter is before the court, so I'm not going to be making any comment on the matter before the court and in relation to any other action the government may undertake. I mean, that's purely a matter before the courts at the moment. But in relation to the government, our government, the federal government's advice to Tennis Australia, that was set out very clearly in November. As I read the extract from this very podium, it could not be more clear.
According to court documents, Novak tested positive for COVID-19 on December 16. Djokovic and Tennis Australia were informed in November, according to the Sydney Herald, he would not meet quarantine-free approval and couldn't meet the national standard created by the Australian Technical Advisory Group on immunisation.
And for the second year in a row, the prestigious Grammy Awards have been postponed, this time due to another surge of the COVID-19 infection in the United States caused by the Omicron variant. The 64th annual ceremony, which was originally slated for January 31st, will be rescheduled to another date, which will be announced sometime in the near future.
According to a joint statement by the Recording Academy and CBS, the health and safety of those who are involved in the production of the award ceremony, as well as musicians and audiences, remains their top priority. Last year's ceremony was postponed 6 weeks from its original date, and its rating fell by 53%. The nomination for the Grammys this year was also met with some controversy when the Recording Academy made a last-minute change to the nominations procedure. Just 24 hours before the nominations were announced, they expanded the ballot in the top 4 categories, namely Album, Record, and Song of the Year, and Best New Artist to 10 spots from 8. Benefiting artists such as Kanye West, Taylor Swift, Lil Nas X, and more. So far, the performers' lineup has yet to be announced.
And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. As usual, follow us on our website, TVSTVMY, or follow us on our social media. Once again, I'm Douglas Elliott. Thank you and good night.